So we are here with half of the Haverford College SAAC, or the Student Athlete Advisory Committee. They've split into two subcommittees this year. This committee is going to work on making the student athletes more integrated with the broader Haverford campus community. So we will just start out with, if everyone could give a brief introduction about themselves, their year, their major, their sport, and maybe why you felt like you wanted to become a part of the Haverford College SAAC.
I can start. I'm Julianna Clark. I'm on the women's basketball team. I'm a senior, economics major and mathematical economic concentration. I really wanted to join SAAC because I feel like there's a lot of improvement that can be made within the community, especially with the relation between athletes and non-athletes. So that's why I'm really excited to be a part of this committee and just kind of help to improve things for kind of everybody on campus, not just the athletes.
I'm Johanna Batterton, but I go by Jo. I'm a senior at Haverford and I'm on the softball team. I'm a chemistry major and environmental studies minor. I wanted to join SAAC because athletes are proportionally just a very large part of this campus. So we have, I think, a level of accountability to serve the community. And so I wanted to be a part of the committee that helps us serve the community in like the best like reciprocating way between the athletes and the non-athletes in the community. So that's why I'm very excited to be in this subcommittee as well.
I'm Ryan. I'm Ryan Giovenco. I'm a baseball player, biology major. I'm a senior, and I wanted to join SAAC because I felt like at times my team and I think some other teams just feel a little bit secluded to themselves, and I wanted to try to increase that community feeling within athletes and work on events like D3 Week where we're building up athletics and celebrating athletics.
My name's Anthony Vizzoni. I'm a senior on the men's lacrosse team. I'm a physics major and doing electrical engineering in the 4+1 program at Penn. I wanted to be a part of SAAC because I value the student athlete experience so much here at Haverford, and I want to do my best to help improve it as much as I can in the SAAC committee, and to be a part of this subcommittee to bring together the athletes and the non-athletes on campus, just as to try and bring out the best in both aspects of the Haverford community. Sports are a great way to extend something to root for, something to have fun with into the greater community. And the community has so many other great things to offer to us. And it's a good goal to set to try and bring both of them together. So I think that's why I want to be part of SAAC.
Good, very good. So as we're recording this, the semester's only 2 weeks old, but it's been a pretty busy summer for the Haverford SAAC. You guys have been holding meetings regularly throughout the summer. And one of the early things that came out of this was you're the first ones to develop a mission statement for the Student Athlete Advisory Committee. I was wondering if you could just talk a little bit more about why you felt that was important to really state the mission of the SAAC, and what were some of the initiatives that you really wanted to highlight in that mission statement?
So previously we actually did have a mission statement, but we felt that kind of with the summer and just with our meetings, we kind of wanted to revamp and rebrand and felt that it was a little outdated. So I think as like times change and the school grows and like our community grows, we really wanted to make a mission statement that we felt reflected those changes. So a lot of our like additions and just kind of changes of wording just kind of was meant to be more inclusive to the community as a whole, and kind of really make the point that we're kind of here for everybody, not just the athletes, but we want to be there for the entirety of Haverford. So that was, I think, a big kind of point that we wanted to make with our new mission statement and our new like rebranding of SAAC.
And then obviously the rebranding of SAAC and the inclusion of everyone in campus kind of leads us right into what this subcommittee is charged with, in improving the student athlete and just student dynamic on campus. Why did you feel like this was an important emphasis to make a part of your mission statement? And maybe what are some initiatives you have planned for the upcoming semester in hopes of improving on things you've already done in the past?
I think one of the main points of establishing this committee is like when you think about Haverford and the size of the campus and the percentage of athletes on campus, it seems like it's strange that there is a disconnect between essentially half the campus and the other. And to us, it didn't seem right, and we wanted to do the best we could to try and bridge whatever gap there may be there. So I think that's why this subcommittee, we only have two, is one we picked because it's something that's very important to us and to the community as a whole, like to bring everyone together. As far as stuff we had planned, we were thinking of doing, partnering with FAB, Fords Against Boredom, and doing some events sponsored by SAAC to bring, have events where it's not just athletes going or it's not just non-athletes going, it's everyone, stuff like that. Everyone else can speak more about other stuff we're going on. I don't want to take up all the time, but.
Yeah, thanks, Viz. Another one of the things that we were thinking about doing was kind of like small scale, short term, making some type of like more accessible Google Calendar that could be shared amongst a lot of people, because we know Engage is used for clubs and organizations to put down events to register, but we didn't feel that, at least on the athlete side, not many people use Engage to like look for what's going on campus. So we thought if we were able to like make a more digestible like calendar with athletic events and non-athletic events, that if that could be shared, it could promote just a lot more, like, I don't know, be cheerleaders for everyone, like for all the types of events. And that's just like super important, like where I think this committee is really necessary, or the subcommittee is really necessary, is because I think the greatest thing about being a Division III athlete is that like you are not pigeonholed to just being an athlete, because we have the time to be more than that. And I think that sometimes that's a little bit lost in the transition of like coming into college. So I think one of our goals is like promoting our underclassmen as soon as they get here is like join something else, like get involved, meet new people, like other than just your teammates, because it'll enhance your experience.
I think something else too, and it's a little bit of a broader goal, but is using our visibility and our transparency towards our goals as a method of outreach. I think that in the past, people didn't necessarily know what was going on with SAAC, and maybe some of the things that SAAC was doing were impacting them, but they weren't really aware of SAAC's goals and what SAAC was doing. And I think if we're transparent about that and we're getting out in front of it with our new mission statement and our statement of our goals, then that's something that will go a long way in the larger community, just knowing that we're working and we're going on with these things.
Good. So you mentioned reaching out to the larger community. I think it's really great, some of the ideas you came up with like interacting with Fords Against Boredom. Have you interacted with any groups specifically? Like, is there any collaboration? As you mentioned the calendar, I think Joanna mentioned the calendar where it's not only the campus events, but it's also getting people to possibly come out to the athletic events when sports resume on campus. Has there been any collaboration so far in that regard?
Not yet. I think what's tough during the summer when we were making these goals and projects, we were also acknowledging that some of them can't necessarily be done this fall because of COVID restrictions. But we're definitely like in the beginning process of like waking ourselves up into like our steps this semester. So I think our first couple steps would be reaching out to FAB, and also we were thinking about, when Gio was talking about our visibility, reaching out to the clerk and collaborating with them so that there could be, whenever we have some major updates of progress we've made, we can reach out to the clerk and create some type of relationship to like increase that visibility. So I think our key term is just like transparency, like when we've talked this summer.
Yeah. So you mentioned transparency, and I guess maybe is there a simple like goal you would reach, or what would you consider like, I feel like this committee is successful if we can accomplish this? Do you have like a large scale goal you're aiming for, or?
I think that like it's kind of tough in terms of like defining like what our success is, because I think that there's a lot of like intermediate steps in like kind of gaining our success. But like a big thing that like we've been doing in terms of like visibility is a lot of people don't even know what SAAC is. They don't know what our purpose is. They don't know that we're an outlet for them and we're a resource that they can use. So with our rebranding, with our like media, like our social media push, we've recently just gotten an Instagram. So we're just trying to get the word out there, kind of spread our purpose and our cause. We're hoping to kind of create a form that anybody can submit like thoughts, concerns, questions, anything that they're thinking of to us. So that way we can respond and try and make a change if people are experience things on campus. Like we're someone that they can reach out to and like hopefully see like actionable change, and like that somebody cares. And it's not just athletes, like it's non-athletes as well. Like we want to hear from everybody. So that's like a big part of like our visibility. And like I think that we'll know that we're being successful when we start to get that feedback from athletes and non-athletes alike. And that's when I feel like it'll really kind of be like turning a new leaf.
I think we had a meeting over the summer with some of the deans, and it was one of the little, you call it an icebreaker, or one of the little things they want us to answer is like, what is it going to look like at the end? Like when we do, like you said, Justin, like what does it look like when we succeed? And I think the best indicator of that is just obviously barring COVID is a flourishing campus, right? Where every event has people from all corners of campus, where the soccer games are packed, and any sort of a cappella group concert is packed, and every event in between has people from all over campus attending it, and everyone wants to be, like Johanna said, everyone's cheerleader, right? I think that's when we have the campus cheering everybody on together, that's when we get to that spot.
Yeah. And then another thing that was mentioned earlier was kind of the making SAAC a more visible group on campus. I was curious, you have the microphone now. So for people who don't know, maybe what are some of those things that you've been doing behind the scenes, or how can people reach out to you with suggestions for improvements going forward?
Yeah, that form that Juliana was talking about, that's going to be, I think, in our timeline of our like Instagram. We're introducing ourselves right now, just so that's our first level of transparency. It'd be like, we are the people on SAAC and this is what we're working on specifically. And then once all of our introductions are out, there will be like posted, the form will be posted, I think, on our SAAC website, but also like spreading the acknowledgement that it exists on Instagram, maybe like in our bio, putting the link in there so that people have that accessible means of giving us critique, so that we can really implement the change that, because we're only 4 people, like we can only see so much of what we think needs to change. So we want to hear what others are feeling as well.
Yeah, to that point as well, each of us has teams that we're the liaison for, and we've been actively reaching out to those teams and opening those lines of communication. And as we get into practices and more team meetings, we're going to be introducing ourselves to those teams, and so that they'll get to see our face, they'll get to meet us, and then they know that they have someone on SAAC that they can reach out to if they have any concerns or questions.
I think that also something unique that we decided to do this year is we're not being the liaison for our own teams, which I think is different than in the past. We felt that it was important to kind of have that variety where you are connected to different people and different teams, and also to kind of make your own team feel more comfortable. If there is an issue or something, it might be a little difficult to like say that to somebody on their team, but they have that comfort where they can go to somebody else that isn't directly impacted by it. So we're just trying to think of any way possible that we can encourage feedback and encourage people to really reach out to us, because we want to listen and we want to hear and we want to help.
Good. I was going to mention team liaisons before Ryan brought it up. And it was interesting to me that, like, Juliana, you won't be the liaison for women's basketball and Anthony for men's lacrosse, etc. I was curious, what kind of support do you hope to give each of our varsity teams this semester and beyond?
Well, Justin, it's actually funny you say that, and I'm laughing because everyone on my team was texting me like, "Aren't you on SAAC? Like, why are you not our liaison? Like, did you
Same.
get kicked off or something?" I was like, "No, we're changing it up." Um, I think our main role is like our service is to be an outlet for any concerns or questions that you have regarding whether it be within your team, which is a point Julianna was making. Like, if you have something going on within your team and you don't feel comfortable going to someone in charge of your team, like say your captain who is simultaneously your liaison, that could be, there isn't the same level of openness there if it's an internal issue. Or, any problem with the department that you don't want to go through your coach or through Wendy, like we're that conduit, the line of communication, as Ryan said, to facilitate any sort of concern or question that you have and any way to make your experience better. That's our role.
Yeah, and we're also the people that are gonna, when the department has like the sports psychologist and like different like strive like different events to strengthen ourselves as teammates and as individual athletes, like we're people spreading that information to our specific teams. And I think one thing we talked about a lot this summer of trying to support our athletes is like mental health in the kind of like closed offness of COVID times. And I think like having the not sports, the like workouts from Coach Cox and Coach Poppy online, like where we talked about that a lot this summer of like wanting to get that out. And so like spreading that information to try to keep people moving and the options of just like being an outlet for like all means of life.
Good. I think we've covered a lot of important topics with the SAAC. I think you've given a lot of good information. Before we move on to your individual sports, I was just curious, is there anything else you feel that people should be aware of with what SAAC is doing, what SAAC hopes to do this semester?
I think piggybacking a little bit off of what Joe said is like the mental health thing has been a real topic of conversation throughout almost every meeting we had this summer. And so any way that we could be helping out with athletes right now, or literally anyone on campus that's struggling during these times, like I think that's one of our main focuses going forward.
And then obviously a main component of your Haverford experience is the fact that you're all varsity athletes here at Haverford College, and we're now a couple days out from fall practices at least getting underway. So I was curious what the feeling is like being back with your teams on campus, and do you have any goals set forth athletically for the fall semester and what you hope your teams can accomplish, even if it's going to look maybe a little bit differently than a typical fall would for each of your sports?
Yeah, I definitely think that it's been a little weird not kind of having our normal routines and preseason kind of workouts and stuff. So I know that like women's basketball, like we're just trying to be together as much as we can. Obviously distance and respecting like the limits of how many people can be gathered at a time definitely makes it a little tough. It's a little bit easier for us because we're a smaller team. But just trying to have team dinners outside and just try to interact and get the freshmen comfortable. And we realize that the transition to college isn't easy. So trying to like help them out as best that we can while still trying to be safe. And I think in terms of goals, like we just want everybody to feel comfortable. And from like a basketball standpoint, shoot as much as you can, try to work out, have fun while you do it. Just hopeful for the spring, I think.
Yeah, off of that, I think our big goal is just to kind of do whatever like you need to do for you, because for everyone that's going to look a bit different right now. But I know for me, like I've gone and hit in like the batting cages a couple times, and like just like that feeling of like being with like, I mean, only one other teammate, two other teammates because of restrictions, but like just being in that space again with like the people you love and doing the thing you love is, I like missed a lot. And so like I'm very excited to like get back next week. But I really think like the emphasis on like everything being optional, like strength and conditioning practice wise, because right now like some people like really might need to step back. and like that is totally fine. And I think it's really important for my team and every team to like emphasize that like there's no right and wrong right now. Well, there's definitely some wrong things to do, but but not coming to practice because you aren't feeling up to it is not a wrong thing right now.
Yeah, I think too, something with our team that we've been emphasizing is like we have a huge privilege that we're able to practice right now, and a great opportunity. When you look at most of the schools in the Centennial right now aren't on campus, or they're on campus in a very limited fashion, and so we have that opportunity to focus on development this fall, where maybe we lay off the competition a little bit, and we move a little bit slower, but we're able to be together as a team, and we're able to get our work in. And that's just a huge advantage going into the spring. So I think we're just really excited about that and just recognizing the opportunity that we have in front of us.
Yeah, the men's lacrosse team's in a tough spot because we have a 40-man roster. So doing our best to get everyone together to see each other and getting the first years acclimated has been a challenge with the restrictions, but we've been doing our best to like break our team up into groups and then have those small groups meet and get to know each other and rotate the first years throughout those groups so everyone gets to meet everybody. But as far as training goes, right now it's pretty limited, obviously, on the numbers. So it's a lot of individual improvement, because you can go to the field and run around by yourself and run some sprints or something like that. So there's a big emphasis on individual improvement that we're looking forward to. And the main message has been like, just do what it takes to get to the spring, right? Because that's when it's important. So we've just been stressing the guidelines and saying, you know, it's something we're gonna have to sacrifice if it means we get to play in the spring. So that's where the boat we're in right now.
Yeah. So, well, I guess that kind of wraps up the questions I had. I just want to thank each of you for coming on and talking to us. I think it was very enlightening definitely for myself and hopefully everyone else who watches this video. Is there any other closing thoughts that you wanted to give before we wrap this up?
Thanks for having us, Justin.
Follow us on Instagram.
Follow us on Instagram, yeah.